Just a short, very warm welcome from my side to everyone who joined our launch session for the new PANORAMA Thematic Community on Forest Landscape Restoration. This is the very first session kicking off the official event program of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. We're happy to do that. My name is Hannah Wegerle, working for GIZ on the Large-Scale Forest Landscape Restoration Africa program. I'm excited to see so many participants, and I just will shortly introduce today's moderator, Charles Karangwa. He is regional lead for the Forests, Landscapes and Livelihoods program in Africa and country director for Rwanda at the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. We're honored to have you with us on board, and handing over to you, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hannah, and welcome everyone, and pleased to see a couple of colleagues already, the similar faces and names on the webinar. We have 45 minutes for this particular webinar, and we thank everyone for attending. And I would like to welcome our speakers who are going to give us some opening remarks. Our first speaker is Elka Steinmetz. Elka is the head of division for international cooperation on biodiversity at the Ministry of Environment and Nuclear Safety, the government of Germany. Elka, we welcome you, and you can have the floor to give us some opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Charles and Hannah, and hello to everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to open this webinar and welcome you all to this important event. I'm speaking on behalf of the Federal Ministry for the Environment and the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development of Germany. I'm sorry for that. So I introduced my name already. Charles said it. My name is Elke Steinmetz. I'm head of the Division for International Cooperation on Biodiversity. I'm very happy to take part in this important webinar. And I, first of all, would like to thank colleagues from IUCN and GIZ who have been involved in the preparation and launch of the new thematic community on FLR. I personally have been working in the FLR community since more than 12 years, and I must say it's high time that the PANORAMA initiative takes this important topic on board. I will not bore you with lengthy elaborations on the importance of forests for tackling the biodiversity crisis and climate change, but the concept of forest and landscape restoration offers great opportunities for mosaic solutions by integrating different landscape approaches, including forests. And therefore, I think it is high time to include it into the PANORAMA initiative. To my knowledge, and as I observed it during the last years, the FLR community is already quite big, comprised mainly of real practitioners, meaning people and organizations working on the ground like IUCN, GIZ, and many more. So I'm sure that the number of visitors to the PANORAMA platform, which is already impressively high, will increase rapidly, which is good, as all efforts are about linking each other and learning from other solutions. These are actually the keywords that you will hear throughout the whole webinar: linking each other, working together, common ideas, exchange of solutions. And that's it all about, actually. And it's the key to successful nature-based solutions for a healthy planet. Before now handing over to colleagues who will dive deeper into content, please allow me a word on the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Actually, this UN Decade was born in the FLR community and the Bonn Challenge. And therefore, it's an even greater pleasure for me to open this important webinar. So thank you all for participating. I will be with you and stand ready for questions later on. And now I hand over back to Charles. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elka, for the very great words about this PANORAMA solution on forest landscape restoration. And I noted that, which I totally agree, is that the timing is very, very correct with the launch of the decade on ecosystem restoration, working together, linking each other, and delivering the solutions to the nature together through forest landscape restoration. Allow me to welcome Helga. Helga is a member of the PANORAMA Secretariat, and she will dive deep into the PANORAMA solution for forest landscape restoration, including the benefits. Welcome, Helga.
Thank you, Charles. Good morning, everybody. I am Helga Mahler. I am representing the Secretariat of the PANORAMA Partnership. I'm working for GIZ in Germany, and the Secretariat is shared by IUCN and GIZ. The PANORAMA Partnership. We are all about the promotion of solution examples for topics of conservation and sustainable development. The partnership focuses on the idea of peer-to-peer knowledge sharing and offers reproducible approaches that have worked successfully, that are scalable, and then enable good decision-making. We are backed by a strong alliance of powerful partners from international environmental and development organizations, and contributing to the global policy goals as much as facilitating impact on the grassroots level. Our work is shared both on online, virtual, and face-to-face formats. That means that we are having several workshops, trainings, conferences, in face-to-face meetings. We are sharing communications, publications, printed one, virtual ones, newsletters, social media, and webinars formats. And we have our huge online platform. Our solution providers are coming from a whole range of organizations from all over the world. We have more than 600 solution providers, which are coming from NGOs, from governmental organizations, academic institutions, community groups, etc. Why do they share their solutions with us? They share their solutions with us on the PANORAMA web platform because they gain visibility for their work. They get recognition for their work, and through sharing the solutions, the solution provider is also going through a process of structured reflection and self-learning, and leverage for their work, and also what is also very important, the network access. The solution seekers, on the other hand, they understand trends, they are inspired by stories that support their decision-making with real-life examples, and support the efficient production of new initiatives. The solutioning approach, which we call that way in the PANORAMA partnership, is a modular case study format. That means that identified replicable key success factors are shared in building blocks, so-called building blocks, which are making up the solution at the end. They adhere to defined quality standards, the solutions, and are peer-reviewed by experts from the subject matter before the publication and then replication. The PANORAMA solutions are tools, methods, processes, and approaches that work and inspire action, that have an impact, that are scalable, and of course address conservation and development challenges in an integrated manner. The PANORAMA partnership itself, here are all our partners. Here are our development partners, and this is the Secretariat, GIZ and IUCN. And the solutions are grouped around key topics, which we are conserving in thematic communities. You see them down here, that are coordinated by one or multiple PANORAMA partner. And these PANORAMA partners are also represented in the steering group. As to today, we have 7 interlinked key topics, which are grouped in these so-called thematic communities. And we are very happy to launch today the number 8, Forest Landscape Restoration. Thank you, and back to you, Charles.
Thank you very much, Helga, for that. I think that's the solution we are launching today, the power of cross-sectoral collaboration, the power of cross-sectoral learning, the power of innovation as we look forward to the next 10 years of the decade of ecosystem restoration. After this, I would like to, and I'm privileged to welcome Mr. Luther Boyce Ankur, who is the Regional Director of IUCN Eastern and Southern Africa region, who will talk about the why actually IUCN is interested in the PANORAMA solution and what are the benefits. Over to you, Luther.
Thank you very much, Charles. Distinguished PANORAMA Partnership members and everyone with us here today, it's a great honor for me on behalf of IUCN to be a part of this occasion when we launch the PANORAMA Forest Landscape Restoration Portal. So IUCN has been a key member of the PANORAMA Partnership since its inception, and together with GIZ and the other partners has played a significant role in establishing and advancing PANORAMA into a renowned, credible, and strong knowledge and learning initiative. PANORAMA as a web-based platform is being leveraged by IUCN and others to showcase successful restoration, exchange of lessons learned, and facilitate replication of what is working. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to reaffirm IUCN's commitment to the advancement and coordination of the PANORAMA initiative as a whole by co-hosting the Partnership Secretariat with GIZ. All IUCN constituents, which are made of the Secretariat members and commissions, contribute and utilize the PANORAMA platform. Global thematic programs and regional offices coordinate thematic communities, while IUCN members, member organizations contribute good practices of solution case studies. IUCN Commission members also support the review and quality of case studies. Currently, IUCN is promoting solutions on a range of topics, including protected areas, business engagement in nature conservation, nature culture linkages, and other topics through the coordination of 6 of the 8 thematic communities and PANORAMA. You've already heard from Helga's presentation that this is actually the 8th, and we are launching it today, the new thematic community of forest landscape restoration. A 9th thematic community on species conservation and health will be launched later this year and also coordinated by IUCN. IUCN appreciates the importance of PANORAMA platform as it contributes to the achievement of the IUCN 4-year program and provides an institutional learning and knowledge management mechanism. Engagement among partners and platform users on relevant topics on the PANORAMA should inspire others to use the platform and contribute to the pool of knowledge. The Forest Landscape Restoration FLR thematic community being launched today will collect approaches for sustainable and inclusive forest landscape restoration. Therefore, regular collaboration among the program, FLR programs and initiatives will foster the development of knowledge and communication networks. I believe that the dynamism and expertise that is available globally today and in future will help us achieve multiple goals if shared on PANORAMA. Last but not least, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank GIZ for the great partnership and appreciate BMU for their financial support to this great initiative. Now I welcome you all to hear more about how you can all participate and contribute to PANORAMA. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Luther, for highlighting again the importance and the benefits of this PANORAMA solution on forest landscape restoration. It reminds me that we have a big ambition ahead of us from the Bond Challenge initiative that was launched in 2011, bringing us to the New York Declaration and extended Bond Challenge to restore 350 million hectares globally, but also from that, all regional initiatives in Africa. We have the Africa Land Restoration Initiative of 100 million hectares in Latin America, in Asia, and other regions. So the ambition is big. So working together, delivering together, learning from each other, I think it's very timely with the PANORAMA solution. Thank you for the remarks. Without further ado, I would like to welcome again other colleagues who will again bring that motivation and that's why this PANORAMA solution on forest landscape restoration. Tangu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good morning, everyone. The thematic community will be sharing examples of impactful and replicable FLR approaches, as you've heard from the previous speakers. And the approaches presented in this community will describe mainly the methodology to assess landscape restoration opportunities and related benefits, the approaches for inclusive stakeholder engagement. Of course, we're also looking at, we'll be looking at solutions on business models related to restoration value chains and others that will fit in the community. Motivation for setting up the FLR thematic community largely comes from the understanding that the community itself will respond to the challenges of degraded forest landscapes and the impacts of on human well-being, ecosystem services, and climate change. At the moment, the major global conventions and frameworks have identified forest landscape restoration as an important component of reaching various goals that have been set up. And FLR initiatives like the Bond Challenge align with the Sustainable Development Goals, the Aichi biodiversity targets, the land degradation neutrality, and of course the Paris Climate Change Agreement. There is also a connection between the new forest landscape restoration thematic community and the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. The decade is currently challenging everyone to massively scale up restoration efforts that breathe new life into our degraded ecosystems. There are already millions of hectares of terrestrial and marine ecosystems under restoration across the globe, supported by many global efforts almost everywhere. And this new thematic community on FLR serves two of the identified objectives of the new decade on ecosystem restoration that is running from 2021 to 2030. And these two are, of course, one, the enhancement of knowledge exchange on what works and why, looking at the policy, economics, and biophysical aspects, and how to implement restoration at scale. The second one is the connection between and among initiatives that are working in the same landscape, regions, or topics to increase efficiency and impact. One of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration resolutions made at the General Assembly is also emphasizing that forests, wetlands, drylands, and other natural ecosystems are essential for sustainable development, poverty alleviation, and improved human well-being. Therefore, the UN General Assembly is also emphasizing the need to increase these efforts to prevent forest degradation and contribute to the global efforts to address climate change. Before going further, now let me ask Hannah to explain a little bit more on the issue, on the use and the thematic community platform of the thematic community platform and how we will all participate. Hannah.
Thank you very much, Tangu, for sharing our motivation for this new community on FLR. I'll, like she said, give you a short insight into the purpose and the intended use of our community. So, of course, our first goal is to identify the best local and regional solutions on restoring tree-rich landscapes. This allows then to gather information on fair and scalable approaches, like Helga already said, that have been proven to be effective. And it also enables a diverse range of practitioners to be visible and share their experiences, what is the very heart of this PANORAMA platform. Our second goal yet goes beyond sharing practices on the platform. We want to build a network of stakeholders to foster and engage in active exchange on forest landscape restoration. We want to make use of experiences and allow meaningful discussions. Also, joint learning by facilitating inclusive workshops and webinars, giving solution providers the opportunity to promote their approaches and also to jointly discuss common challenges and barriers. We want the generation restoration to learn with and from each other. I think that's the main goal, be it on country, regional, or global level. And as Tango already said, with an engaged community, we reach this knowledge exchange and connect initiatives working on the same landscapes, the same topics, and increase the efficiency and the impact of our common activities in FLR, and sharing a very diverse set of perspectives. And with that, make our contribution to restoring ecosystems. So the time to act is now, and therefore I'm handing over to my colleague Jörg to say a bit more on our platform and also to show this new thematic community and online platform. Over to you, Jörg. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to present you the PANORAMA platform, new thematic community on forest landscape restoration, and to show you what it is all about. I'm diving into it directly to give you an overview what we want and what we can share with you. PANORAMA as a platform provides a range of thematic communities, which has been mentioned already by my colleagues. And you see the newest one is our forest landscape restoration community. This one is launched today, and it fits very well to the UN decade as it was mentioned already. Now, let me show you what this solution platform and thematic community is about. So far, we have already 23 solutions which are giving examples of best practices and lessons learned from various countries, even different continents, providing examples of approaches to challenges which are related to climate changes, which are related also to biodiversity, but also to socio-economic aspects, as it was mentioned earlier today. You can also see that these solutions are representing an array of countries here from various continents, as I mentioned, developing countries, partner countries, but also partner countries from the Northern Hemisphere. We do have these solutions at hand. We want to have more solutions, and we want you to become solution providers. Now, how to do that? To become a solution provider, actually, you can contribute. You contribute either a full solution, which is built up with building blocks who are interacting and which are interacting, which would show the innovative elements of a solution which can be transferred and upscaled to another context then. But just to get acquainted with this, please try it by submitting a snapshot solution, which is quite easy, which is simple to be done as a one-pager with the challenge and some approaches and some pictures you might want, and you get visibility for your challenge and your problem. There's a solution provider manual, so come on and just visit us and check whether you want to submit your solution to this great network. And with having said that, I would like to draw your attention to one specific solution which we have on our platform already and which we would like to present to you right away by a dear colleague who is with us today, and I'm handing over to my colleague, Ansa, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you, Jörg, to give me the floor. Please allow me to speak in French for a better understanding of my presentation of the PANORAMA Solution. Thank you very much. Pour commencer, j'aimerais un peu introduire notre motivation dans la contribution de Madagascar dans le PANORAMA Solution afin de pouvoir partager les acquis et les solutions apprises de Madagascar en tant que pays lead dans la mise en œuvre de la RPF au niveau de la FR100. Sur cela, je vais vous présenter alors ce que du PANORAMA Solutions. C'est comme grand titre les engagements internationaux à la mise en œuvre locale de l'approche RPF à Madagascar. Donc, nous allons ici un peu parler des solutions apprises et des moyens de mise à l'échelle des réussites de Madagascar en termes de RPF à Madagascar. Dans la solution, nous avons pu partager d'abord les défis de Madagascar, comme le bien-être de la population à Madagascar dépend de ses ressources naturelles et de ses biens, tels que le bois de chauffage et la nourriture et l'eau. Pourtant, de nombreuses zones sont fortement dégradées en raison d'une utilisation non durable et irrationnelle des ressources naturelles, accentuée par les aléas climatiques qui augmentent les risques au niveau à l'échelle de paysages, ce qui a poussé alors une priorité essentielle de la FR100 à la mise en œuvre de la RPF pour assurer le développement durable des paysages au niveau de chaque pays dont Madagascar a pu contribuer. Dans cette optique, on peut voir alors le fait de transformer les paysages dégradés, déboisés en écosystèmes résilients et multifonctionnels, de pouvoir séquestrer d'importantes quantités de carbone et préserver la biodiversité et aussi renforcer l'approvisionnement en ressources naturelles pour les populations. C'est dans cet engagement, dans la RPF, que Madagascar s'est lancé aussi dans le défi de Bonn Challenge, afin de contribuer aussi à la restauration des paysages forestiers, et d'où l'initiative AFR100 au niveau Afrique, afin de contribuer à 100 millions d'hectares de paysages, de restauration de paysages forestiers. Et puis, en 2015, Madagascar s'est engagé officiellement à cette initiative AFR100 afin de restaurer 4 millions d'hectares de paysages dégradés et déforestés. Les bénéficiaires de la mise en œuvre de la RPF sont surtout enfin, c'est à une grande échelle, donc à l'échelle nationale, on peut même voir, même à l'échelle internationale, mais les bénéficiaires et surtout les acteurs principaux dans la mise en œuvre sont généralement les ministères nationaux et directions régionaux au niveau de Madagascar, les différents membres du comité national RPF, les structures décentralisées, les organisations de société civile et surtout la population, les communautés locales. Ainsi, dans cette solution, l'approche de Madagascar comme solution de réalisation des engagements de l'RPF se base sur 4 points fondamentaux, donc 4 fondements de base. Le premier building blocks, comme vous voyez sur l'écran, c'est la coordination intersectorielle par le biais de dialogues interministériels et multipartites. Le deuxième building blocks se base sur le renforcement de capacité des acteurs. Le troisième building blocks est le développement de stratégies nationales pour la mise en œuvre de la RPF à Madagascar. Et le quatrième building blocks est de pouvoir faire l'analyse spatiale multicritère afin de prioriser les paysages à restaurer à Madagascar. Sur ce, nous voyons sur cet petit onglet à droite de votre écran l'interaction entre ces building blocks que je vais brièvement parler. Il y a la création de comité national RPF et de plateformes en tant que structure institutionnelle pour la coordination et les dialogues multidisciplinaires en tant que building blocks numéro 1, ceux qui interagissent au fondement du passage au processus RPF et aux politiques à la planification de la restauration, qui rejoint alors cet renforcement de capacité en bloc numéro 2 afin d'assurer et soutenir le développement de la stratégie nationale RPF à Madagascar et à aboutir au document cadre pour l'identification et la priorisation des paysages à restaurer par l'analyse spatiale multicritère. Ce qui nous a conduit alors à beaucoup d'impacts, enfin plusieurs impacts assez conséquents à Madagascar jusqu'à présent, dont je vais citer quelques-uns. par exemple, la gouvernance foncière, y compris la coordination intersectorielle au niveau national, a été considérablement renforcée. Il y a aussi de nouvelles politiques sectorielles qui sont en cours de développement, avec un sens plus élevé de cohérence entre les différentes approches et concepts. Par exemple, l'élaboration de la directive nationale de reboisement, par exemple, qui soutient vraiment la mise en œuvre des activités de reboisement à Madagascar. Et surtout aussi, la mise en place de paysages pilotes RPF au niveau régional. Donc, c'est l'implémentation au niveau national et qui bascule à l'échelle régionale et locale. Par exemple, nous avons œuvré au niveau de la région Bouin avec la mise en place de groupes thématiques pour appuyer toujours ces dialogues multi-acteurs couvrant la restauration et les différents angles thématiques liés à la RPF. Ainsi, je vous prie de trouver le lien suivant afin de voir plus en détail les solutions de Madagascar et à approfondir sur comment Madagascar a pu contribuer à la mise en œuvre de l'RPF jusqu'à présent. Dans cette mise en œuvre est toujours reprise au niveau de la GIZ, toujours afin de soutenir la mise en œuvre de la RPF jusqu'en 2030. Sur ce, je vous remercie pour votre attention et je passe la parole à Charles pour la suite de la présentation. Merci.
Yeah, merci beaucoup, Ansa. Thank you very much for the very powerful presentation on the solution from Madagascar. And I can happily witness that when I traveled to Madagascar a couple of years ago. I can see that the dedication, the commitment, and the engagement is actively happening on the ground and at national level. Forest landscape restoration from the presentations requires coordination, requires communication, requires learning. And I think you would like to welcome questions from participants. I noted a number of comments from colleagues who are already interested in the solution. Very great appreciation from the team and the participants to your thoughts and reflection. So if you have questions, we would like to welcome you. Please put your question in the Q&A section in the chat box, and the panelists will be able to respond. I have one question which is on my screen. How are you planning to involve the youth? And I would like to invite Tangu to share her experience on how youth could be engaged, building on her on-ground experience in Malawi. But also I would request other colleagues who would want to share any reflection on how best to engage young people. Just to note that PANORAMA Solution is an open solution. Anyone can provide a solution there. So young people, organizations and movements are definitely encouraged to also register their solution on the Ferrara Panorama. Over to you, Tangu, and also I will invite other colleagues who would want to speak to that particular question as we wait for other questions from the participants.
Thank you very much, Charles. From experience, and I also know this is happening everywhere else, is the fact that the youth are also involved in the restoration activities. Coming from Malawi, where we had this big project where youth were involved in restoration of their degraded areas within their communities, they need to learn from each other. Those that have done something, those that have achieved to restore degraded areas within their communities, should use this platform to share their knowledge. What are the lessons that they learned? How did they engage with government? How did they get funding to implement those restoration activities? What else is it that they would like to learn to improve on how they are doing their activities at the moment? So the youth should really get involved and in sharing, and of course, getting on the platform to engage with others. This should be interactive, as Hannah had said. Let us engage each other. If you want to reach out to a youth group in Madagascar, if you want to reach out to a youth group in Germany, for example, let us use the platform that way to learn from each other and share our knowledges, because together we will grow. And I'm sure by building all these small movements, putting all of them together, we will achieve the bigger goals that have been set up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tangu. Any other colleague from the panel who want to react to that question in particular?
Yes, please, Charles, if I may come in. Thanks a lot. Indeed, we do have some solutions, not yet in our forest landscape restoration portal, but especially in agriculture and biodiversity, which are focusing on school gardening, of teaching about plants, about biodiversity, about ecological effects also to the youth, to school kids, to young people. But I think this question which was placed here, put here in the chat room, thank you very much, is asking also about how to include the youth as solution providers. And here we are looking very much forward to welcome young people to provide their activities. There are so many things going on in the youth movement all over the world about cleaning up the environment, about raising awareness in the population, putting the finger into the wound on the earth, which the adult, which our ancestors, which we are breaking up every day still. So yes, please encourage your people, your pupil, your students to come up, register at PANORAMA and share your solutions with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jörg. I have another question on the screen. How will you analyze these diverse solutions to aid others to transfer most applicable approach for their own national and local condition? And allow me to welcome, I don't know if my colleague Helga is still there. From the experience point of view, Helga, maybe having been part of other solutions, this question is probably speaking to how are we intending to use the solution to transfer the most applicable approach to the national and local conditions. Then if you could speak to that, but I will also be happy to invite Susanna to share some of the experience or any other colleague.
I'm not sure if I completely comprehended the question. I'm very sorry about that. Can you please repeat it again?
Yes, definitely. I think it's more of how does solution translate and can help countries, local communities to implement this solution in other places. Basically, how does it work? If you could share my experience from previous solutions.
Okay, thank you so much, Charles. Yes, this is actually our main goal, to have the solutions replicated in other parts of the world, because the idea is that to most issues which are occurring in one part of the world, and communities are seeking for solutions and they're trying to set up projects. There is maybe already something what happened at the other part of the world. And this is what we are sharing on the platform, and we are reaching out to communities. We try to spread the word in order that the solutions are known and that they can be replicable. And the idea is that the solution seekers are taking the solutions from the platform. And we have also different formats, for example, awards, which we give also if there is a issue with financement of solutions. So we try to have a very integrating approach that as much people as possible can implement the solutions, because actually that is the main goal of our work.
Thank you, Helga. That's very helpful. And just what that solution is always available on the platform. So you can download it and take it into your own community, adapt it to the context as required. We have 3 minutes before the close of the meeting. And if you allow me, I would like to just do a brief kind of TED talk of what we discussed. We presented and launched officially the new PANORAMA Solution, and it's on the web. So you can join, you can register your interest and register your solution wherever you are. And either you are a small organization working at community level, you are a research institution, you are a donor, you are a development partner, or you are a country, feel free to join. And this is an opportunity to really learn how we can scale up the implementation of forest landscape restoration in the next decade. Without further ado, I'd like to thank you and welcome Susanna, who will give us some summary and conclusion. Over to you, Susanna.
Thank you very much, Charles. And thank you, colleagues, for the session and for the launch. It's really great to see that this is finally happening and that we have such a strong network of partners from IUCN, from the GIZ, the support of both BMU and BMZ. And I really look forward to see this community thrive and get bigger. Also, I think it has been mentioned before, it's very timely as a contribution to the UN decade on ecosystem restoration. And one point I also wanted to emphasize is that the Forest Landscape Initiative, AFR 100 in Africa, is also a very good opportunity to look for solutions, because I know many countries have come together. More than 30 countries in Africa have made a pledge to restore degraded forests and landscapes. And therefore, there is already happening a lot of good work on the ground. And I think the PANORAMA platform also provides an opportunity to showcase these activities, to find and promote local champions that are doing exactly the work that needs to be done in order to achieve the results at the scale that we need to achieve. And I just wanted to mention one point, because the question was like, how can we transfer experiences from one country to another? And actually, the solution that was presented from Madagascar is, I think, a very good example, because this approach was taken to another country, and there has been a very fruitful exchange between Madagascar and Cameroon, where both countries came together to learn from each other how to set up the process, how to create a multi-stakeholder dialogue on a national level. And therefore, I think this is already a very successful example that can showcase us also how to learn from each other and how to make this happen in practice. And I'm very happy also to hear that there are a lot of plans on how to make this a very lively exchange and make the community work with webinars and other exchanges. And I really look forward to the future of this. And I'm very happy to be part of the team and to work together. So thank you very much, Charles, for your moderation, for everyone who's been here. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. And thank you everyone for joining the webinar, and we wish you a very good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And thank you, Rushir, for accommodating it.
Thank you, everyone.